What is up, everyone? I am here with eliminated player number 11, even though he's self eliminated, unfortunately. But I'm here with Anthony, quite a big player this season, I would say. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much. I'm doing good. I'm doing better now.
Well, in watching yourself back on this
Yeah.
this here game, my favorite thing about you is one of your very first things you said about yourself is that you're organized chaos, and I would say that was your game completely.
And I think honestly, I stayed true to that, or at least I tried to. Um, and it's so funny is that like looking back on the show, um, I know that there were some decisions that I made, and I roped in other people to be a part of that. Like there were certain people that I was like, I don't really think this person is a traitor. However, I just don't like their tone, so let's just get them out of the game.
I could see that a lot.
Yeah, and it was just again, it was like the manipulation of it all. And looking back on it, would I do it again? Yeah, I would. And not say it to their face. I'd do it again.
I mean, I will say you started off as quite a fan favorite. You kind of pissed some people off at one point when you were just so headstrong against Lauren, I guess, but that's the way it goes.
So funny you say that because I love El Boogie. Like I call her El Boogie now. I mean, like outside of this, we kind of like squashed our beef because I was going at her ham. And then I mean, she messaged me on social media, and then she was just like, "What's your problem?" And I was like, "What the is your problem?" And then I think honestly, it was just that like, yo, I actually apologize. So she's the only person that I shouldn't have gone hard on because she was actually, a faithful. But I don't know, her tone just it was very pointed, and I didn't want to deal with that.
Well, we'll definitely come back to Lauren, but let's go back
Yeah,
towards the beginning. One of
yeah.
the first people you hit it off with the most was Raven. What was it about you and Raven's dynamic that just clicked?
I don't. Fuck. Something about Raven that I don't know what it was. It was just like her honesty, and there was no way that I honestly thought that she was a traitor, but as we started to get down to further down the line, it was kind of like, hey, it's either you or me, and it's not going to be me. But it was just like the way she presented herself, she was very authentic, and she carried that throughout the entire bit, even on our one-on-ones. I liked her eye contact. I like how vulnerable at sometimes she would be, and it was just kind of like, damn, there's no way you could definitely be a traitor. And again, it just felt very genuine, like our connection, like straight off the bat, like you just said, it was like, yo, Raven, yo, what's up, Ant? And it was just like automatic from there.
Now, another person that I think became the closest person to you was Lori. You
Oh,
guys were interrogators together, and then you two became like the most powerful duo in the game. And also, before we get there, it's also
yeah.
ironic to me that like Jason was like the biggest person at first. I thought Lori was a traitor, but you were right there with him. Like, is she the perfect grandma or not? What changed your mind?
I don't know. Like there were certain characteristics about her. Even when she would like sign on into like our one-on-ones or just like the overall group setting, it was this. It wasn't in the actual game. It was pretty much what I was noticing outside of. She was very caring and nurturing. I'm not sure if the audience was able to see that, but I mean, when she would log in, she would be like, "Hey, listen, give me a second, guys. I'm actually with my grandkids," and she'd be having those conversations with them. And I mean, like, it was kind of like I was going with, could she just be the perfect grandma? But then as I started to get to know her, and it was all again, it was very genuine, like her approach. It was very just like she was very like nurturing and caring. And I was like, there's just no way. There's absolutely no way. She was very detailed, very organized. And I just appreciated where she was coming from. And then I started to see like that softer side of her that was very analytical, but also like, hey, listen, I'm on the same side as you. And I was like, no, yeah, she really is the perfect grandmother. And I was like, fuck, can I borrow her for a second? Like, I need that love right now. But yeah, I love her.
And how did you guys become? Was that your plan? Was to become like the powerful duo, or did it just happen?
It honestly, it was very organic, you know. I think like behind the scenes, I came into it like after all of our calls. I would say, I want to partner up with this person. I think it's going to be a great team if we do this. We're going to go and conquer and divide. But I think that the way things happen, having them happen organically, as opposed to saying, hey, listen, let's team up and do this. It just felt like more of a, oh, it fell into place as opposed to us forcing something to happen, you know. Um, yeah, so it just fell into place. It felt good to have that type of camaraderie, but yeah, it was very organic and it fell into place.
Now, the first traitor that was eliminated by herself was Ashley. At any
Yeah,
point, did you suspect Ashley, or did she have you fooled like most people?
absolutely not. I was on the Ashley bandwagon. Like, hey, listen, she is not a traitor. There was nothing that came off to me as is she be potentially a traitor. And even when I like look back the notes and all the conversation that we were having, very few. I'm like, damn, she can't be, you know. And I think that was honestly when I started to think about like I was like, hey, listen, is she the perfect grandma? Like because I'm thinking like the two personalities, one is very analytical, so is the other, and I'm like, But yeah, she definitely threw me off, 100%.
And then during that round, before she self eliminated, Drea was causing quite the ruckus. This is probably going to be a hard one for you to answer, but what was it like playing with Drea? And what the audience doesn't know is that specifically Drea missed a lot of chats with you during the beginning of
Yeah.
the
So
season.
let me. I hope Drea listened to this. I want to start off by saying, Drea, I love you. However, dot dot dot. Girl, what the f? Like, it was really difficult for me to say that Drea is not a traitor when every opportunity you and I had to, have a one-on-one or even a conversation, you weren't there. So I was basing all of my opinions or formulating them based on you were making everyone else's except for mine. So I was like, oh, it's personal. Yeah, she's a traitor. Let's get rid of her. It's like crazy. Like her and I had like an appointment at 7 o'clock, right? At 7:15, she decides to come in, but she misses mine, but goes to someone else. So I'm like, all right, two can play this game. Dre, you gotta go. But I still love you. There's no harm. I just want to say I took things personal, so I had to get rid of you.
Now, another big personality was Mike, who he was on the right track with Dar, but
Yeah.
nobody would listen to him. Why do you think nobody listened to him about Dar? And were you just distracted by Lauren at that point?
Yes. However, I think that Mike, um, something that I learned earlier on just in life is to know your audience. And I think that like you can have the strongest opinion, you can have everything, all the facts in a row, but there's a way to present what you have to people so it doesn't sound like one, condescending, and two, you're trying to take over your audience. And I think that that's where Mike made a mistake at, is that like he had all the information, he was on the right track, like you said, except for his delivery was way off. And I think if I were to ever be in the arena with him again or have that opportunity, I would just hopefully he can listen to this and say, man, listen, there's a way to go about certain things that are behind the scenes that honestly, I hate using this word. You can manipulate people. You can like plant the seeds so that way you can take a step back and say, okay, I planted this seed, let them go with it, you know? But every conversation, he was like, no, I know this. And it was very strong and aggressive. And honestly, in a setting like this, that can be very off-putting. And I think his personality is really what got him out of the game.
Yeah, I will say Mike has played quite a few games, and like every time he plays with new people, he tends to rub a lot of new people the wrong way. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
he was
So
aggressively rubbing me.
now another big player was of course Jason, and Jason. Yours and Jason's relationship was interesting because I felt like you wanted to get along with Jason, and he
I did.
definitely wanted you to get along with him as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was a lot of doubt there. What was it about Jason?
Um, so both of us being in the military, um, I'm thinking like, yeah, okay, this could work. We're both on that vibe, but I don't know, man. It was just like something like red flags were just going up, you know? And I think that there were like certain conversations that I was having with Lauren. Um, and I think it was just like that was getting in my head. And again, when we would come into conversations, I feel like I would be hearing like the end of things, and then the end of things that I would be hearing, they didn't match up what him and I had previously been speaking about. But again, because I'm coming in as he's going out, or if we're in a setting and his time is being cut short, it just leaves kind of like that doubt. And I think that doubt continued to grow over time. But I like him as a person, but in the game, he just comes off as shady.
Is it because he talks too much or just something?
Yeah, I think that can also be it. It's just like, again, like sometimes you just have to like know your audience. There's a time to like reserve yourself, and then there's a time to just be like, okay, let me involve myself, but you have to do it strategically. And I think that like some of the players in this game, it was just a matter of just like when to insert yourself, what information to drop, because sometimes dropping too much information can seem like, how do you have all this information? And then someone can come in and say, I didn't say that, and the next thing you know, it's just like a bunch of lies going around. So yeah, I still like him.
That's good. I'm sure he'll love to hear that. No, I definitely want to talk about Lauren, but before that, I have to ask, because at the end of the game, unfortunately, you were at a party, so you had to self-eliminate it. But you came into that final 5 where like you and Lori had the numbers.
Yeah.
And you guys got out Dar. I just want to know that, would you have tried to get out Jason too? Like, just make sure it was you and Lori final 2 to win, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
Absolutely. That was 100% and I mean, again, you said I had to self-eliminate, which sucks. But yeah, it would have came down to Lori and I 100%. I know that would have been there was just no way, because her and I, at that point, it was such a strong bond that I was like, she could have been like, hey, listen, this is the person. Okay, perfect. This is who we're going with, and it's just really unfortunate. But yeah, he would have had to take a hike.
Well, there was no way I was hate to hear that.
Yeah. Jay, I love you, brother. However, come on, brother. You have to understand, like, yeah.
Now, that round when you and Lori were the interrogators, Lauren said something that rubbed you the wrong way about that she didn't feel like she could play as a team, or she was struggling to play as a team or something. Yeah. And then that's when you just started to go hard after Lauren. Was that the reason why, or was it just because you said at the beginning of this that there were people that you went after that you didn't think were traitors? Did you think Lauren was a traitor, or did you just want to get her out of the game?
I think it was a mixture of both, actually. I think that the scale was tipping more towards I just wanted to get her out of the game. And I mean, again, once you're having these conversations with multiple people, all it takes in the scale is just to hear a little bit more information to tip it towards to listen. Doesn't matter what I'm thinking. I know that I want to get her out of the game. I have one other person that believes this. That one other person can influence the thought of someone else. Great. There's 3 people. Let's just remove this person out of the game. And I think it comes down again to strategy, just being able to form that connection with one person. And I might not be, for instance, I might not be really close with Mike. However, someone else in the game is. All it takes is a little. So Anthony and I are on the same page. This is why we believe that. And next thing you know, that person's roped in and we have the majority to remove someone else out the game. All about strategy. And yeah, it was, again, time for her to go.
You did have one of the best social games, I would say. People like to talk to you, and then I guess that's what also gave you the power. Yeah. Did you find that you had a good social game?
I definitely did, because there's no difference in when I was, on this, as in my personal life, very sociable. And I think that's, even looking back on this, I think it would have been very maybe challenging, even though I would have wanted to be a traitor. Because I think that like there's this part of me that likes to have a connection with people, like I am genuinely listening. And I think that that's sometimes what can be that's my default, is listening to the conversations and then taking the feedback and then it's like, regurgitating it. And I think with sometimes certain people, they don't have that ability. They're just like, they're hearing you, but they're just like, yeah. And they're just waiting for their opportunity to jump in. And my social game is definitely what played into my advantage. And honestly, if I wouldn't have self-eliminated, your boy would have won this. And fucking
I do think so.
Oh
Um,
my god.
One thing you did get grief about, though, is I think it's that your Leo confidence. You definitely have the Leo confidence, but you got grief for being like loud and wrong about Lauren, and then later about Jason. Was that just Leo confidence? And
It was. I will admit, the Leo confidence it can be very overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me, and I'm the one that has to live with it. So imagine what I'm going through. So if anything, feel pity for me. Like I have to deal with this every day.
fair
Um,
enough.
yeah, it's something that I've been working on. But my therapist was like, listen, it's not going to change, honey. So you know what? I just have to take my own advice and know my audience and when to say, this is my opinion. It's very strong, but I could be wrong. So I think that next time around, I think I'm not gonna lead with that. I'm gonna lead with my aggression and then say at the end, after the person is eliminated, I forgot to mention I could have been wrong.
That's fair, I think. Well, you said next time, so you would play another game in the future.
Yeah, oh my
I
God.
know.
100%. I definitely would. I just learned so much, and I learned so much about like not only myself, but just like being able to have those connections with people, you know? I think it places you in these uncomfortable situations where you're left kind of like wondering and you're like, fuck, man, this is sucks. Like, am I doubting myself? And it's like you have the facts or you think you do. And you're like, I really hope I'm making the wrong decision. And am I doing it based on emotion or am I doing it based on I just want to get this person out of the way because I'm annoyed by them for whatever X, Y, and Z reason.
One more person to talk about, one more
Yeah.
traitor in Al. Why do you think you all let Al like go under the radar for so long? Nobody really suspected her till towards the end with Raven.
I think L played a very strategic game. You know, I think that there were times when I wanted to doubt her, but I just didn't have enough ammo. You know, I think that as the faithful, we were all just we should have. I don't think that we were a cohesive unit. You know, I think that we were just like obviously, as you can tell by the voting, we were just all over the place. And I think that that was kind of like our mistake, so to speak. And I think that Elle played a game that she was just like, honestly, her social game was amazing because I think that with her lasting as long as she did, I think that it just proves to say that like she played what a traitor should be playing, you know? It's like she had her hands in multiple plots. She was just like manipulating multiple people and she had everything so organized that like she like it's kind of like she planted so many seeds, but like none of those roots came back to her, which I think was just fucking amazing how she played her game. So kudos to Elle. I'm gonna get you though.
I guess one more question actually,
Yeah.
because the faithful got a lot of grief from the fans that you guys just couldn't tell that Dar was so obviously a traitor. So what
Yeah.
is it about Dar that he also lasted pretty long, and you guys knew what he was saying apparently?
Honestly, like, okay, I'll start with Dar. I think you're great. Great guy. I just, how do I say this? Anytime I was talking to Dar, I felt like I was having a conversation with someone that he didn't even know they were there. Like, I just felt like he was just like, yeah, 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 bro, yeah. And I was just like, I don't think that he even knows what a traitor is, first off. And I was like, I don't think that R is ever a part of these. I was like, does he know that this is a game? And I was like, no, no, no. His game was even better because I don't think that Dar was a part of the game. I think he was just like, oh yeah, okay, I'm here, and it was just like he can't be a traitor. That there's just no way because I don't think he knows what's going on. And again, he just slid on by.
Yeah, well, I guess that definitely did work for him.
Oh, I think that's his default. So I hope
Yeah.
I wish him the best.
Well, do you have any final thoughts on your game or the season in general that you want to talk about?
I will say this for anyone that I aggressively came at, I want to apologize. It was nothing personal. It was just that, like, when you're playing this game, you really want to be able to try to be strategic, and you want to try to make sure you're making the best decision. Obviously, because you want to eliminate the traitors. Sometimes my judgment got in the way of, like, wow, this person is rubbing me the wrong way, and I took things too personal. I think that next time around, I need to take out the emotion and just do it based on facts. And I think that's Lori was absolutely amazing at that. Is that, base it on facts, remove your emotions, and then that'll lead you to, at least a 50-50 chance of, okay, not basing on emotion, basing it on facts. This is what I have. So apologize to you guys. Had an amazing time. It would be a privilege to do this again. So we'll see. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I will say I don't think you ever went after anyone personally. It was definitely always on a game level. Maybe a little aggressive, but it was always on a game level.
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah. I mean, in the back, it was like, oh, this damn guy. But yeah. Oof. Can I ask you a question though?
Yes.
What was the? Oh my god! It was in like the beginning of the game. I can't remember his name, but he flat out was just asking for numbers, trying to do like what was his name?
Oh, Amancio?
Amancio. Did he did he get eliminated? He did get eliminated, right?
Yeah, y'all voted him out. He was the first one voted out.
Yeah, I sometimes think of, no, I don't actually think about him. I think it's just more so I just want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay.
It was like,
no, he's good. He had an exit interview and everything too. Well, you were fun. I will definitely like to watch you play again because I think you're great TV personally.
Yeah, I just gotta, it's gonna be me. This is me, unfortunately, 24/7. The only time I get a break from this Leo personality is when I'm sleeping, and even then, I'm dreaming about myself. So it's just who I am.
That sounds like a Leo. All right. I believe that 100%. I don't think that's a joke at all.
Oh, Nick, it's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you, Anthony.